we are officially live on Facebook and we're also recording this. So you will get a copy of the link to the recording as well as a copy of the slides after the event. And welcome to our soul healing community discussion. This is the third one that we've held. Jax and I are really, really excited about creating and forming the soul healing community, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that today as well. In the first soul healing community discussion, we talked about why we have started soul healing adventures, what it's all about, etc. So, and that video is available on YouTube, and we can share the links to you if you'd like to watch it. The second one, we talked about the nitty-gritties of Bali, because our first soul healing adventure is going to Bali in September, and we're really, really, really excited about that. So we talked more about the logistical side of it, and gave a broad overview of the soul healing experience. And today we're delving a bit deeper into that, and Jax is going to do a lot of the talking because she's put in a lot of work into, what does it mean to have a soul healing experience? So, Jax, over to you.
Caro, before I dive into the soul healing experience, I think I'd just like to do a little check-in with everybody to see how they're feeling right now and what brings them here, and what they might be carrying into the space this evening before we even go on the adventure or even start talking about the adventure. So let me start, just to break the ice, is I am feeling very, very excited, and I'm feeling as if things are slowly starting to come together. And I think we spoke earlier today around the whole idea of a dream and manifesting a dream, and how in our last discussion, sort of things were a little bit, it was there, the vision was there, but it was not so solid. And as we move along every month, things are starting to become a little bit more crystal, a little bit more solid. The dream is starting to actually, I can see it's on its way to manifesting. So here's a great example of how we actually make a dream come true, is in a step-by-step process. And so as I'm seeing the steps fall into place, I'm getting very excited. So that's where I am, but tired, a little bit tired. It's been hard work, but fun work. So it's all great.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fantastic. Does anybody else want to share where you're at right now? So I think just to give you a little bit of perspective on how we want to run these events, is this is all about connecting with you as the soul healing community. Please interact with us. Let us know how you're feeling and where you're at right now. Jax is going to start introducing the concept behind what you'll experience and what soul healing is all about. But the first step is to acknowledge, where are you right now? So for me, I'm really, really excited. And I've just had a very long holiday in New Zealand. So I'm rested and ready to take this on. A lot of anticipation, and yeah. Hey, do you want to move on, Jax?
Yeah. Okay. So my next question is, and maybe our participants can just put in the chat bar if they don't want to speak, is just pop in the chat how you're actually feeling so we can get a sense of where you're at and talk to that. But I asked the question, what are you carrying? And for me, let me just share what I'm carrying is a little bit of weight in my shoulders, in my neck and shoulders. It's feeling quite tense. And me personally, I know I put a lot of pressure on myself to get things right. I am quite a perfectionist and quite an achiever. And so, along with that, the hard work of putting something like this together. Hello, a fellow perfectionist. Good to meet you. We create this pressure for ourselves. And we want to hold everything together, and we want to be there for the people in our lives, but also do good work. And there's just a lot of stress and pressure that comes up around that. So sometimes the pressure, the sense of not good enough, not good enoughness sort of drives the perfectionism. And over time, we start to become disconnected from ourselves because we are so busy trying to take care of everybody else that we actually stop listening to our own inner voice. And then it starts over time, if we stop listening to ourselves, stop taking care of ourselves, that disconnect is not just an emotional or physical disconnect, it actually is a spiritual disconnect. And when we become spiritually disconnected, we can find ourselves, our health gets affected, our relationships, our creativity, even our sleep. And it starts taking away our joy and our inner peace and our vitality. And so then we don't actually live the full life that we're here to live because we're so busy trying to achieve the things we want to achieve and get things done and sort of meet the expectations that society places on us and that we place on ourselves. And so we live a sort of half-lived life. So is there something that you would like to leave? I know I would like to drop the perfectionism personally and the stress that I create for myself and just trust a little bit more. That would be my thing I would want to leave behind, is the pressure I put on myself. Caro, what are you carrying and what would you want to leave behind that no longer serves you?
Sure. um, well, I almost feel like I need to figure out life, you know, now that my husband is going to be retiring soon, and that burden is going to come back to me. So I need to try and figure out the way forward with life, the universe, and everything. So it's a bit daunting. And what I'd like to leave behind is my seriously bad money mindset.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
poverty mindset, the belief that, you know, I just, I, like not charging my value, and not understanding my value as a professional. Um,
Mm.
and I think that is the biggest thing that I'd like to leave behind right now.
Okay, great. So, what we're going to be doing, and just for context, this is for people that are sort of on the brink or in the middle of some sort of life transition, like you are, Caro, and like I am.
Mm.
Okay. And people who've almost had careers and achieved and or empty nesting at some sort of second act life transition, that our soul gives us an opportunity to actually relook at our lives and um, do something different from what we know, what is familiar. And so we came up with this idea of a soul healing adventure, and it's going to be 15 whole days in Bali. And I use the word whole. Um, there's a play on the word whole because it's about becoming whole. We're going to 3 magnificent destinations in Bali. So we're starting in Ubud, and then we're going to, Caro can tell you more about the details of that later. Then we're going to the beaches in East Bali. And lastly, we are going to an island it's called Nusa Penida. So those are the 3 magnificent destinations. So we are traveling, we're moving from place to place. So it really is a journey. And it's an immersive healing experience that's designed for heart-centered men and women um, who've they've succeeded in life, but have lost the connection to who they really are. Um, so So this is not just a trip to Bali or a soul healing adventure. It's actually a sacred turning point in your life. It's an opportunity to empower yourself, an opportunity to transform from the inside out, and it's an opportunity to change your life. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about why or how this happens. Okay. So there is an invisible golden thread woven through the tapestry of your life that connects your history and where you come from to your legacy and what you want to leave behind. And it also connects your present moment and the decisions and choices that you make right now, right here, to your destiny. And that's what you're ultimately going to experience in your life. That's your destiny. And the journey begins when you recognize that, one, you are not ordinary. Okay. You are extraordinary. And you acknowledge that. You know you are. Okay. And you know that you've been called. You know that you're here for a sacred purpose. There's a reason you've been put on this earth. There's a reason you've gone through all of the life experiences you've gone through. And you also know that this is the right time for you to claim what I call the golden crown and enter your kingdom. So this is really an opportunity to enrich your life, to make your life golden, to live your most golden life. So how is this going to happen in Bali? Okay, how do we actually get to our most golden life? And the first thing, in a world where we are driven by pressures and demands and expectations, both externally and the ones we put on ourselves, and life is fast and life is stressful, rest is actually revolutionary. And it's essential to transformation. If you don't rest, you can't change anything. You just stay on the same treadmill doing the same things over and over again. So what we've done on this adventure is we've built in space and time for a digital detox. It's not the whole time, but they're very specific days of rest and relaxation where we're saying, switch off your phone. We're not doing anything, no activity, just downtime. And we go into the natural beauty that is in Bali. And what happens is when you rest and relax, these moments actually activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the part of your nervous system that is responsible for rest and relaxation and digestion. And in our busy lives today, we hardly have time to actually process life. So this is actually giving our bodies a chance to slow down and process some of the stuff that we might not have had a chance to throughout the course of our lives. It also creates an internal spaciousness to receive healing, and then also for that clarity to emerge, because the answers are actually inside of us. And I'll explain to you why a bit later. Like Caro, you're saying, what does the next phase look like? And what I'm saying to you is that the answers are within you, but we need to create space for them to actually present themselves, the information to come forward. So this soul healing adventure is a moment to reclaim vitality and to reconnect with your joy and to relook at what freedom looks like for you and fulfillment looks like for you. And with every breath that you take, and every ritual that we do, and every revelation, there's going to be an awakening to a part of you that's always been whole and wise and worthy. There's an awakening to yourself. Okay. So that's the golden crown. When you actually rest and relax, and I call it the golden crown because it's actually the connection between ourselves and our higher selves and spirit. So when we rest and relax, we access and we activate the crown chakra. Okay, where we can let information start flowing through to us. Okay, next slide, Caro. Are there any questions? Does anybody want to ask anything around that? Okay, we move on. Okay. And then in the beauty and the healing balm of nature, and by using rituals and soul-rooted connection, we're going to be shedding layers of pressure, performance, and pleasing. All of those masks that we wear that are not who we essentially are. We're going to let go in the waterfalls. We're going to release the weight of the emotional burdens that we carry, and we have been carrying. A lot of us carry traumas from the past that are still influencing how we experience life today, and we're not even aware of it. We get triggered and we think it's what's happening around us right now, but what it actually is something from the past that we haven't healed and resolved yet, and it's still affecting us today. So we want to let that go. We want to go back to our roots, and we want to heal where we've come from and some of those traumas. At the same time, because of the traumas that we've gone through, parts of ourselves get suppressed and get lost along the way. I'll give you an example from my own life is when I was young, I used to doodle and draw and play artistically, and that part of myself wasn't encouraged, and nobody saw it, that was actually one of my gifts. And so it never got developed, and it lay latent for so many years. And only at about 40, or when I was getting divorced, that's when I started playing with my artistic side. And over 10 years, I've developed it and cultivated it, and it's actually one of my biggest gifts now. So there are parts of ourselves. It could be, I was talking to somebody the other day, and she said she used to be loud and communicative and always speak her mind. And then she was told it was too much, and she shouldn't always say what she thinks. And so she just suppressed that part of herself, and like only now is she starting to activate that part again. So our gifts and our natural talents are actually sitting in the roots of where we come from. And sometimes we've got to go back and find and reclaim our superpowers. So that's what we're going to be doing in Bali. And we're going to remember who we really are beyond the masks we wear and the roles that we play. And then our capacity for compassion is our most valuable currency. It's our biggest gift, our golden heart. And as we come back to our hearts and we heal our hearts and we open our hearts, then we awaken the courage to actually share who we are, share our love with the world. And naturally, our confidence just awakens to take that leap of faith. Whatever it is, whatever that dream is that we've always had, that somehow we've not taken the steps to actually make that dream happen. So we start trusting ourselves. So it all starts in the healed heart, where our courage is, and where our faith sits is in our hearts. So as we heal that, we find the courage to actually move forward towards those dreams and that future that we're wanting to create. Okay. Next slide. Any questions? As I'm going along, just if anybody has questions, stick your hands up. Okay, so then we're going to heal and release in a loving space. Okay, through rituals, things like every day we would be building a ritual practice, so that it's almost like giving you a map for yourself of how to stay connected to your nervous system and your blueprint. And it's through these embodied practices that we actually come back into balance in a way that we can stay connected to ourselves. Okay. And reconnect to our body's wisdom and hear the truth that is pulsing beneath the surface of our quietly. And it's about accessing our golden voices through which the universe is actually speaking to us all the time. And it carries the resonance of ancient wisdom and future possibility. And as it activates, we tap into a well of courage, and we're able to set clear boundaries with love and speak our truth. And then we start singing the melody that only we can sing. So we actually have our own resonant note. Every single person has their own resonant note that is unique to you, and you vibrate at that note. But as I was saying, these traumas that we go through in life or generational patterns that we carry sometimes knocks us off our own resonance. And that's when we start feeling lost, because we're not actually resonating with who we really are. We're not singing our own tune, our own melody. So what we're going to do is processes to actually activate the throat, the voice, and to bring us back into resonance with our own unique sound. Okay, and this is a chance to feel whole again, spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. Okay, through soul reconnection. Okay, and then it's not all serious soul work. So we're going to have a lot of fun in different ways, creative fun through playful, intuitive, and embodied experiences like art, intuitive art, movement, soul poetry, and getting all dressed up in beautiful Balinese clothes. So that's called adornment. So it's really like feeling like that royalty and stepping into that more empowered self, that new sense of self. So through the play, we're going to awaken the inner child or reconnect with the inner child and give her permission to play. I think we're so serious, and life is so serious, and life is tough, you know. There's a lot of pressure. And the counterbalance to all of that is actually permission to play. But we've forgotten how to do that. To be carefree and innocent and curious about life. So what we're going to be doing is reconnecting with those joyful parts that have got lost or suppressed or left behind. I'm sure you're happy to hear that, Tubbs. That's one of your things that's really important to you, is to play. So we're definitely going to be doing lots of that. And as we go through this journey, we start seeing that the identity, we create an identity that's attached to the role that we play. So let's say, for example, I'm a mother. Then I become attached to that role, and that's my identity. And then when my children leave home, now it's, well, who am I when my children are not here anymore? And then I've got to start reclaiming a new identity. And there's so many different identities we carry. So there's the mother, there's the role we play at work, there's a daughter, there's a professor, just as an example. And we attach who we are to that role that we play, but that's actually not who we are. So we want to discover who are we really underneath the roles that we've played up until now, and to be seen and felt and heard and be able to express the essence of who we really are. Okay. And so when we remember that we are the golden key, so you'll see the element in the middle is the golden key. And when we remember that we are actually the golden key, the essence of who we are is the golden key, then everything changes. And then our radiance unlocks, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. So when we unlock who we really are and we start shining our light, then we give permission for others to do the same. So we show the way for other people. and our clarity replaces confusion. And then things just start lining up. Synchronicities align, and doors that were once closed start opening. So when we actually start operating from this place of connection with ourselves and who we really are, and our higher selves and our guidance, then things start aligning and opening up. Okay. So my question now to everybody is, what is your heart and soul, having looked at where we're going on the journey, okay, and what we're going to be doing, what is your heart and soul yearning for right now? Is it the nervous system reset? Is it the fun and play? Is it to reclaim parts of yourself? Is it to heal the past? What's your heart and soul yearning for? Caro, answer for me. What you yearning for?
Sure. That's quite a question, I must say. Even for me, who, in being a coach and that you're so much more aware of these kind of questions, and it's still a difficult question, to answer. My heart and soul is yearning for fun, freedom, laughter, yeah, light.
To create creative expression.
Yeah.
Like while I'm busy making this, yes, I'm creating, but like that artistic expression, like that's what takes me home to myself always. It reconnects me with myself. So like if I don't do it for too long, I always feel the yearning to come back to myself. Tubbs, what you yearning for? Are you there? Your mic's not on.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I think it's really to connect with that version of myself that really feels worthy to live like my best life. Like that's what I really want out of this experience. And I feel like once I've connected with that version of myself, then it's like I can really step into my dreams.
Identity, right? The golden identity is the one who has all your gifts, who knows what they are, and who feels worthy of living that life.
And it's also that confidence.
Sorry, say that again.
It's also the confidence to be that person.
So I come back to my my first question. So what do you carry that you would need to let go of to step into that identity? What would you need to let go of?
It's quite a bit limit, of like misplaced loyalty. Like
your sound's not great.
My mom struggled with this. Sorry, it's like say, oh, my mom struggled with this, my grandmother struggled with this, my people struggle with this, so I've got to struggle with it, to have a belonging. Or if they didn't feel worthy of this, who am I to live this kind of a life? If they had to suffer through, whatever, how is it that I can go beyond that? I don't know what that's called, but it's like that's just like one part of my limiting beliefs, or I have to look and be and behave and fit this mold if I'm going to live that life, and yet that's not necessarily me. So it's all these false, like, limiting beliefs and thoughts that I have to let go of to just be able, even the fear of succeeding, even more than the fear of failing. It's like, and there is also this genuine fear of like poverty, of like being completely like poor. Oh. Like so there's lots. For me, there's lots.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the stories and the beliefs, the generational stories and patterns, the beliefs, the fears. That's all of the stuff that we need to, like, the weight, because all of that stuff sits in our bodies, right, on our shoulders, and it weighs us down and it keeps us stuck. So we need to let go of that to actually step into that new identity and that new self. So thank you for the vulnerable sharing. So many times I've had to face my fears and I felt completely like paralyzed, and that's often when I find myself procrastinating or and like distracted. I find great distractions to keep me away from doing the things that I need to do that are going to step me into that life. Because I know what I need to do, but somehow there's a part of me that holds me back. So thanks for the sharing. Anybody else want to share before we move on? Okay. So why Bali? I'll come back to the legacy you want to leave behind. But why did we choose Bali for the soul healing adventure? And Bali is actually the perfect place for the adventure that we put together, the soul healing, the reconnection with self, remembering yourself, and letting go. And why? Because Bali in and of itself is actually a sacred place. And there's an ancient energy there because of all the nature. There's an ancient energy that is grounding and nurturing and healing. It's actually a spiritual mecca it's becoming more and more of a spiritual portal for healing. And it's like that island actually knows exactly what your soul needs. The next thing is the food. There's such beautiful, delicious, yummy food there made with love and tradition and fresh ingredients. And one of the things on our itinerary is actually to do a Bali cooking course. So to learn and be with local people and learn how they make the food. And then that comes to the people who are warm and generous, and they are so welcoming and make you feel belonging in a time when there's such isolation. People are desperately lonely, disconnected, and isolated. I don't know if you've experienced, we were just talking about that earlier, Caro, that's what people are yearning for. And Bali just offers that naturally. It's part of their culture. And they remind us of the beauty of human connection. And then the culture in and of itself, obviously part of what we're doing is a cultural immersion. So spirituality is woven into their everyday life. So, for example, every single morning, the Balinese people create these little offerings, that flowers and incense, and they offer it up to the gods in gratitude. And it's a practice. It's a ritual that is a daily ritual. So the essence of how they live is in gratitude. So just learning from these, how they make it ceremonial. These rituals, ceremonies in dancing and music, and it invites us to slow down and reconnect with what's sacred in every moment. Okay, then there's the resorts, which are beautiful. Caro's found us some amazing places to stay. And many of the resorts are surrounded by jungles or forest. So you're like in the middle of nature, which offers just in and of itself such peace and serenity and deep rest. So it's a perfect setting to do the kind of soul renewal that we're going to be doing. Obviously, then there's the shopping, there's the markets with the souvenirs and the handcrafted treasures. And each piece is so beautiful. So as we gathering our own internal treasures, we can be gathering treasures that are part of the Balinese culture. Then there's the spa treatments. There's so many where you can actually, if you want to, like just add to that resetting and healing of the nervous system, deep soul care, massages, and it's self-nourishment at its best. There's the ocean. We're going to be at the ocean to calm your mind and cleanse your spirit. And we're going to be doing some water activities, which just, when you go underwater, it's so soothing and healing. Then there's the spiritual side of Bali. It's known actually as the island of the gods and invites deep inner reflection and spiritual awakening. And it's a space for clarity, connection, and soul discovery. Certain places are actually portals where the energy is actually much stronger for healing to happen. It's just in the nature of the place. It's the spirit of place. So Bali is one of those places. Okay. So Bali strips away what no longer serves and brings you back to your essence, leaving you more present, aligned, and deeply transformed. And so it's the perfect location to be delivering the soul healing adventure. Okay. But it's not just about soul healing. And as Caro said, she's looking for, so what is next? And so a big part of what is next is it's the golden compass, right? It's a sense of, where am I going? What's the direction in which I'm moving? Yes, Tabs, you have a question.
Oh, sorry, Jax. It wasn't to cut you short. It's just you mentioned massage. I was wondering, like, I remember at Nourish Karuna massage. Is there a certain, and that's for Hawaiian, it's indigenous to the Hawaiian people. Is there a massage that is indigenous to the Balinese?
I can't answer for you right now. I'm not sure. I know there are many, many different spas. They are all over the place, but I'm not sure whether there is a specific kind of, I know in Hawaii there's a specific kind. We'll have to find that out for you, Tabs.
Yeah. I'd really love to do that. I think also something that I kind of felt yesterday was that I need to do some like womb work. I don't know exactly what that is like in what form, but I felt like for me some of the ancestral healing needs to be through some womb work. And I know in Thailand and what's this other place, Vietnam, they do massages that work with that type of healing process. So I was wondering, maybe that's something that might be available for me in Bali. I don't know.
So there are so many different kinds of healers in Bali doing all sorts of different modalities. Like it's a hot spot for healers. So what we could do is, if somebody said could we do an ayahuasca journey? So I think what's available is to say, well, what do people want? And if enough people are saying this is what we want, then we will source someone during one of our days to offer that. We'll bring them in to our healing day and say, okay, let them come and do a session around that, and we'll make space for it. It might be on one of the rest days at the moment, but I'd rather do it on the healing days, actually, so that your rest days are kept as rest days. But if there's a majority that says we want womb healing, then we could bring somebody in. Or if there's a majority who says we want plant medicine, we will find somebody to do that. There's no shortage of healers there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not just here to let go, you're here
Yes.
to explore what comes next, right? So you'll see there's a golden compass. Okay, so we're going to access your golden compass through future self rituals. We're going to be looking at your future self, soul collage, legacy mapping, through which you're going to gain soul aligned clarity on your next chapter. And you'll decide, is it a passion project? Because you might not want to go and work with, you might be tired of working, but you might want to just do something that's fun for you and keep you busy, and a passion project. Or it might be conscious business, or it might be just choosing a more meaningful, healthier way of living and structuring a more balanced life. And sometimes people don't know what that looks like. And so they have difficulty making the change because they don't have a clear picture of what their life is going to look like after that change. So we're really going to help design that. You're going to have a very clear picture of what is my life going to look like? What is my ideal day going to look like when I'm in my new identity and my new life? You'll leave knowing what matters most. So it's about getting clear on what your values are, what makes your heart sing, okay, and why it's time, your drivers, and why it's time to say yes to this new experience, this new life. Okay. And then with this clear map, you'll rise into this new life, not resisting it, but in rhythm, because now you've got the confidence, right? And you know your worth, and you know that you deserve to actually live this golden life. So you'll rise into it in rhythm and alignment and deep devotion to your most wholehearted life. Okay. And your wisdom and your experience are meant to shape more than just spreadsheets and statistics and schedules. So engaging your golden hands in legacy work that brings meaning, purpose, and joy ultimately touches hearts, uplifts souls, and changes lives. So transformation is magnified in community. Obviously, when we do it with other people, it just becomes more. So on this retreat, one of the most important things for me is that you're going to meet and engage and connect with people that are in heart resonance. And they're caring, they're kind, they're wholesome, they're non-judgmental, they're generous, beautiful humans. And this is our soul healing community, our soul tribe. And so if you come on this journey with us, you become part of our tribe. And like Tubbs is part of our tribe. We've got people who come with us on heart walks, and they're just the most interesting, beautiful, loving, special people that seem to gather together for our retreats and in this community. So, you know, when I was thinking about like, who do we want to have on this retreat? I was like, I want to travel with heart-centered people, with my tribe. And so this is who we're wanting to attract to travel with us. So if you feel like, we resonate, yeah, I can see myself spending time and having fun with these people, then this is a good fit for you. Okay. And what we're doing in community there, obviously we're going to have like sharing circles. So we have all these amazing experiences, and we're doing these activities, and we're processing things while we're going along in conversation, in pairs, with partners. And then we bring it back into sharing circles. So there is like that sacred listening and heart sharing, so that you witnessed and you've seen and you held by people who are non-judgmental and completely accepting of who you are. And when you meet a group of people who accept you for who you are, it's so much easier to be yourself, because then you don't have to wear the masks, you don't have to pretend, and that takes a lot of energy. So one of the things that's really important for us is to create the safety in the container at a physical level, at an emotional level, at a psychological level, at a nervous system level, is for you to feel safe with us. So you leave aligned with your heart's calling and your spiritual purpose. You'll walk away with tools and practices and rituals to carry the retreat's magic into your daily life with confidence and grace. And then you still have the ongoing support of a loving tribe, and obviously Caro and myself as seasoned guides, to go away and implement some of the things that you are becoming aware of, this new awareness of what your legacy is, what your map is. Okay, so we're not sending you back out into the world without any support. You now, if you come with us, you're now part of the community. Okay, so why are we the perfect guides to actually hold this experience for you? So I'm going to hand over to Caro, because I'm getting tired of the sound of my own voice, all here on my own with nobody giving me feedback. Thanks, Tabs, for rescuing me. I'm going to hand over to Caro.
The biggest risk of coming to this thing is that you're guaranteed that your life is not going to be the same afterwards.
That's exciting. It's exciting, but it's scary at the same time.
I experienced that on both of the retreats, and I can't get into the details, but it's all for my good. But when you leave, you may not realize it, but soon, well, for me, soon after both of them, it's like a whole lot happened both times, you know? It's like, so I can't imagine that, and that was just weekends. I can't imagine what will happen in 15 days of that kind of experience. And it's both like exciting and scary, like Kara said. Yeah. But let's see, we're here for it.
You know, Tabs, I mean, for me, I've done local retreats, right? I've done 3 local retreats in the last 3 years. And like, this is a huge stretch for me to say, we're going overseas, we're going to Bali. Okay. Like, it's such a big leap, and a leap of faith, to also say we want people from all over the world to come and join us. Okay. It's not just South Africans. And so, like, for me, it's going to change my life too. I'm not taking people anywhere where I'm not willing to go. Like, I'm seeding this huge transformation in my own life. And I'm like really trusting. I'm trusting my journey. I'm trusting that the right people, if they're meant to be there, Spirit will send them. I'm trusting the experience that I have gathered over time to be able to put these things together in a particular way. You know, I've got a very particular way and recipe for how I put these things together that becomes quite magical. And I never know what's really going to happen, because what I do is I create the container. I put a lot of effort into creating a safe, held container, and then I let it go, you know, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. That time. And that's the power of it and the magic of it. And then also just trusting that if certain parts of your life start falling apart that you were holding on to, those were the parts that actually needed to fall apart for something bigger,
Yeah.
more of
Yeah.
you to actually emerge, to take you to the next level. And
Yeah.
then you are not alone. So like even in those big changes, it's like we always here. We always here to be there when things are hard, and it's not always easy, but you are held and you're supported. We are not going to abandon you in the changes that are coming. We want to walk the journey with you. Okay, so over to you, Caro. Like, how are you? Like, what makes you the perfect guide to journey with us?
Yeah, so thank you, Jax. I think the first thing is to say that Jax and I complement each other like really, really well. Um, so what makes me the perfect guide is I've been giving this quite a bit of thought, because when you embark on a soul healing adventure, you're not just stepping into a new destination, you're actually stepping into a profound personal transformation. And when you do this, what are you looking for? So, on a journey that is so sacred, you need more than just a guide. You need someone who can create safety and structure and soul level breakthroughs. So basically, somebody who can look after everything so that you can just relax and immerse yourself completely in that soul healing experience. And that is where I come in, because I'm a transformation coach and NLP practitioner, but I'm also a seasoned conference and event specialist with over 30 years of experience in crafting seamless and high impact experiences. So, this unique blend of expertise allows me to hold space in a way that very few other people can do. So, this combines the inner work as well as the security of knowing that everything that you're going to experience, the nitty-gritties, the hotels, the transport, the activities that we've organized, it's in good hands and it's taken care of. You don't need to worry. Once you step your foot and your flight lands in Bali, everything is taken care of. We fetch you from the airport and bring you through to the accommodation, to the hotel or the resort that we're at. And from there, pretty much everything is sorted. My real strength is in logistics. It's in caring for people. It's in seeing what my clients are looking for. So I've always wanted to try and, climb into my clients' shoes and understand and walk around in them a little bit so that I understand what they're looking for, what their experience is, what their expectation is. And I'm going to do exactly the same for you so that you can relax and really, really enjoy the soul healing experience and focus on that healing rather than where your next meal is coming from. So Jax, is that
Why I'm a perfect guide to take you on this adventure is that I've reinvented myself at an identity level several times in my life. So I've been Jacqueline at a name level. I've been Jacqueline, I've been Jackie, and I've been Jax, and I've been Jackal, and people call me many different names. So I have an understanding of what it's like to have different identities. And I've played many different roles. So like mother, business leader, healer, coach, artist. And each one of those is a different identity with a whole different set of skills, and understanding and way of being in the world. So I understand what it takes to shift and change and let go of an identity and adapt to a new identity, or form a new identity, to shift into a new identity. I've spent a large portion of my life taking care of other people and prioritizing other people above myself and neglecting my own needs at a health level. And it's cost me. So I've had some health crises. I've had victories. There've been awards that I've won over time. Very young, I was a South African junior table tennis champion. In my working world, I won an award as Builder of the Year. Recently, I won an award as Most Empowering Life and Leadership Coach 2025, an African Excellence Award. So I've had victories, but I've also had heartaches. As many victories as I've had heartaches. So I have suffered loss, got divorced after 12 years of marriage. That was really tough, raising children on my own. When I was very young, from when I was born, I always had this sense of spiritual disconnection, like feeling abandoned at birth, feeling alone, feeling disconnected, looking for my place. From as early as 3 years old, I'd ask my dad, why are we here? Like, what's life about? And I sort of got, well, you die and the worms eat you. And then my whole world just like shut down, because that sort of answer, that existential answer, just did not open up my world. It shut my world down. And then I spent most of my life actually looking for meaning and purpose. And I always had this sense of being not good enough, like this deep sense of insecurity, not enough, inadequacy. And that drove me to become the achiever that I was, to achieve the things I did. But underneath all of that, I was also angry because I never felt like I was good enough. No, my mother, I once came home with I'd written a test and I got 98%. And she said, what happened to the other 2%? And that sort of set me up to be an achiever, but never good enough. And then, so obviously through these hardships and heartaches, I went on a journey, and I've always been called towards sort of healing arts. And I worked with many, many different healers and had many different, worked with many modalities: body talk, body code, bars, access consciousness, emotion code, and then also like plant medicine and dance, expressive movements, so going into the expressive spaces, and yeah, just learning, like connecting with the shamanic, sort of the spiritual world and the shamanic world, and how that actually works, and mystical states and all those kind of things. And along the way, I've also worked with people who I've seen as masters in their own right, and I've learned from them. When I studied NLP, the lady I worked with, Susan Corbett, she was a master. I worked at Ray's Corp, and Alon Ray's is a master in business. So I've learned lessons from these people along the way. And I've discovered some of the secrets and some of the keys for how to actually unlock the gold that lives inside of us, and also to make impossible dreams possible. So through spiritual awakenings, I've been stripped from my foundation over and over again, and had to rebuild myself over and over again, all the while just accessing and discovering my natural gifts and talents as I've been journeying. And today I am living the life of my dreams. I feel very blessed and very fortunate, because I get to do these kind of things and have these adventures and play artistically and have passion in my life, and deep connection. I mean, I have such beautiful connections in my life with my children, my adult children, who, like my adult son will often once a week reach out and say, "Hi, Mom, just checking in. And this is what's going on in my life." And that's not everybody has those kind of connections. And a beautiful connection with my father and my partner, Robin. And yeah, I live in the flow. So, and I'm feeling much healthier. So I have healed my body. So about my healing journey, about 3 years ago, I had a pill that got stuck in my throat. I couldn't swallow. And that took me on a journey around really processing all the things that I hadn't been able to say for most of my life. And also those things that I hadn't been able to digest. So what was still sitting that was unprocessed, it manifests as physical ailments and physical illnesses. So today I'm standing here excited actually about my life at the end of this journey. And so I can honestly say I don't just teach transformation, I embody it. And every technique that I share has been tested in the laboratory of my own healing journey. And what brought me to my knees ultimately brought me to my calling. And now I offer my map to those that are ready to navigate their own sacred return. So I offer you my map, guys. This is what it is. This is the map. Okay, so just in summary, what makes this different at a very high level? It's a luxury, high vibrational experience that's going to be held in a private Balinese villa surrounded by lush rice fields, sacred temples, and soul-nourishing stillness. Each day is an intentional blend of somatic healing, breathwork, movement, and embodiment practices, sacred ceremony rooted in Balinese culture and intuitive ritual. There'll be soul guidance, intuitive mentoring, and group wisdom circles, gourmet, plant-rich meals, spa treatments, and elemental rebalancing, and spacious integration time for rest, reflection, and spontaneous adventure. It's all designed. So here's in a nutshell, this whole thing has been designed to activate your true energy blueprint. We all have our own unique blueprint. This journey is designed to activate your blueprint, especially if you spent years overriding your intuition in service of others, which has caused you to become disconnected from yourself. You'll come back into flow. You'll connect with your design, your own rhythm, and begin to live from your soul rather than just from a place of survival. That's what makes this different. So it's more than a retreat. It's actually a sacred return to yourself. And so what you'll feel like when you come back from this retreat, maybe not so much what you spoke about after our first 2 tubs, but this is what we want to experience after this process, is you wake up with clarity, rested and radiant. Your spirit hums with joy, and your body is alive with ease. There's no rush, no noise, just soul-led direction, and the deep knowing that you are finally living in harmony with who you truly are. Your decisions feel clean, your boundaries are sacred, and you move with magnetism because you've come home to your own frequency. You speak your truth without flinching. You say no without guilt, and you take bold, aligned action, not from pressure, but from presence. You feel held by spirit, by nature, by a life that reflects your deepest values. You're no longer seeking your worth. You are embodying it. From this place of deep inner peace, you become a magnet for aligned opportunities, partnerships, and creative expressions that match your highest vibration. You're not here to repeat old cycles. You're here to elevate, to expand, and to embody your unique brilliance as only you can. This is your soul's reset, your sacred recalibration, your radiant return. Hey, over to you again, Caro.
Great. Okay. So what we mentioned previously, what Jax has already touched on, is that we've created a supportive space for you. Once we leave the soul healing adventure in Bali, that is not the end of it. Okay. Soul healing adventures is a long-term project, if you want to call it, that we're working on. We are going to run more than one of these. We're going to continue to host webinars, events, etc. But Jax and I have put together, or we're busy putting together, a 3-month program which will take place after Bali, to help you to integrate and to stay on track once you go back to your normal life and your home life, etc. Because what tends to happen is you get all excited at, the event or the retreat that you've been at, and you feel so pumped and everything, and you go back home and your family hasn't been there, so they don't get it. They don't really understand. They're very happy for you, obviously. And then slowly but surely, all those masks come back, and all the layers that you've unpeeled at the retreat is suddenly, you pulling them back again to keep, protect yourself from whatever it is you need to be protected from. So what we're going to do is, for 3 months, we will give you support. It is an optional extra. So if you'd like to do this, you can make a decision at, the retreat. You don't have to, in Bali, you can make a decision to take this on, or you can decide right now that this is what you feel, this is what you want. It is an extra cost. So you'll have private coaching sessions with either myself or Jax, monthly group calls, access to recordings for meditations, etc., private online community access. So we've created a Facebook group called Soul Healing Adventures Community, which we're going to invite you to. But that's a public group. So for those who actually attend the, Bali, we're creating a private community, and you'll be part of that community forever. So our hope is that friendships will be forged, that you'll find your tribe here, at your soul tribe here in Bali, and it will continue for years to come. So maybe you'll want to come with us to our next destination, which we haven't decided where it will be, but the community will grow. So you'll be part of that as well. And then you will also get access to resources, exclusive resources for the 3-month program. So if you are interested in this, we will have the details available on the website. We haven't posted it yet because we're still busy working on the detail of exactly what it will cover. But the program will cost an additional amount of 36,000 Rand, which is 12 grand a month. So what I want to do is I want to quickly pop over to the website to go through the arrangements, details. I'm not going to talk in too much detail, because if you are looking for the details, our previous conversation that we had, discussion, has all the nitty-gritties. So we explained exactly what's included, what's not included, but I just wanted to show you where to go to the website, how to find the information, how to actually register. So let me just go quickly, pop over to the internet. Okay, let's see if we can. What are you seeing? Can you see the website?
Yeah.
Okay, so the website is soulhealingadventure.com. So there's no S at the end of adventures, soulhealingadventure.com. So basically, I'd encourage you to go to the website because it's like a library of information where you can get some background information, and I'm not going to go through it all. But here you can see home, about Soul Healing Adventures in general, and this tab here, Bali 2025, gives you a lot more detail about Bali specifically. The one that I want to quickly have a look at is the accommodation. So Jax has already touched on this. It is luxury accommodation. So the first place we're going to is Ubud. We're going to stay at Kayayana Suites. Our accommodation that's included is sharing accommodation, or you can opt for a single supplement, which is a bit extra that you can pay, and you can get your own room, so you don't need to share with somebody. Then we're going to move to, you can scroll through the images to get a feel for what it's like. We're going to go to Bali Santi Bungalows at Candidasa Beach, which is towards the east side of Bali, and that's right on the beach. So Ubud is more of a city type vibe. So it's busy, not too busy. You can still get a lovely experience, but that is where you'll get more of the cultural exposure, and we can go to the markets and things like that. Whereas the beach, that's a totally different vibe. And what's nearby here is the Mount Batur. And we're going to go to Mount Batur one morning to do breakfast and watch the sunrise. And that's an absolutely amazing experience as well. Then we're going to take the ferry across to Nusa Penida Island, and we're going to go to a resort that's in the center of the island, and it's surrounded by jungles. And that again is a totally different vibe. So the accommodation that we've chosen is highly recommended. And we've gone for more, better level accommodation because we're here to spoil ourselves, and we're here to heal our souls. We don't want to struggle with a terrible mattress at night and then you don't get a good night's sleep. Then the itinerary, if you go to the itinerary page, you'll notice that we keep adding more information. So I would encourage you, even if you've been to our website, go and have a look, because Jax and I are continuously working on updating the information. So you'll see here, you're getting 5 days of soul healing, dedicated soul healing, 4 days of adventure, and 3 days of rest. And the rest of the days are actually transport days, arrivals, departures, and transferring from one place to the other. But every single day has something special for you and for your soul healing process. We're not going to jam pack it so full that you're going to be exhausted at the end. We want you to rest. We want you to have fun. So it's really is a good itinerary. So if you want to learn a little bit about the soul healing aspect of it, you can go and click on this page here, which has a lot more information. So it outlines exactly how, what you'll do on your days of soul healing that has the soul healing focus. So we're going to have a day of soul healing, a day of adventure, a day of rest, and create cycles like that throughout the itinerary. But this outlines for day 1 of soul healing, welcome home to yourself. Day 2 is release what no longer serves you. Day 3 is reconnect with your soul's wisdom. Day 4 is renew your spirit and step into your power to celebrate your life. And day 5 is integrate, bless, and return with clarity. Now, Jax went into quite a bit of detail on our previous soul healing conversation as well. And what I'll do is when we send out the email to everybody, we will send you links to the YouTube recordings for the previous, conversations that we've had as well, so that it makes some sense to you. But go in, study it, have a look at it. I want to go back to the itinerary because if you scroll down below that, you'll see how the Ubud itinerary pans out. So you'll have your healing day, your adventure day, your rest day, healing, adventure, and then travel. Okay. And then we move to Candidasa Beach, where you'll start with healing, adventure, rest, healing, and then travel. And then in Nusa Penida, we have our activity day, which is your adventure day first, and then rest, and then healing right at the end. So the very last day is your summing up of your whole healing experience. Now, just because you have an activity day or an adventure day doesn't mean there's no healing that's happening. Every single day throughout your itinerary, there is going to be an opportunity for soul healing. This is the golden thread that runs through the whole program, is the healing of the soul. And even on the rest days, what we're going to do is the rest day essentially is digital detox, put everything away, get away from distractions, go into a place that's quiet. Now, if you want to go and do your own activity on the rest day, that's also okay. The rest day is pretty much up to you what you want to do, but we highly recommend that you come with us. We're going to create a rest experience for you. Because that will really, really benefit your whole soul healing experience. Okay, so how to sign up? Over here, firstly, we've got investments and inclusions. So let's just quickly run through it. The total cost of which is our early bird price. So you have to sign up before the 15th of June to grab this price. It's going up by 30,000 Rand. Okay. So our price for this whole experience is 57,57575. Okay. And that includes your accommodation, all your transport, your meals, and the actual coaching and soul healing experience. And the value of this whole package is in excess of 130,000 Rand. And we're giving it to you at an absolute steal until the 15th of June. So if you want to grab this opportunity as a pioneer soul healing adventurer, then I would urge that you do sign up before the 15th of June. And what you need to do is you need to put down a deposit of 11,515. Okay, so that's not too bad. And then we will work out a payment plan for the balance of the funds. But it all has to be paid off by the 31st of July, because that is when we have to pay the hotels, etc. So that's our point of no return. Then if you want a single supplement, so you don't want to share accommodation, that's an additional 8,470, and that covers you for the full duration, for the 15 nights. So yeah, basically there are payment plans available. We use PayFast, so if you pay via PayFast, you can choose, to pay it off. There are, for instance, you can use MobiCred to pay, etc. And obviously you can put it on your credit card as well to pay it off, so that that helps that you don't pay the whole thing off in one go. There are there's a detailed list of exactly what you'll get, which I've run through high level. Please read all of this information. We will send you a contract with it so that you know what you're committing to and what we're committing to give you in return for what you're paying. So what is not included? Number one is air tickets. And the reason why we're not including air tickets is because someone who comes from Cape Town and someone who comes from Joburg pay two different prices. And so does someone who comes from the UK or Australia. So our vision is that we want to grow this as an international and a worldwide experience. We don't just want to stick with South Africa. So you will need to pay for your own air tickets. Jax and I are doing research on where to find the best prices at the moment from Cape Town. Emirates has the best price. It's about 15,000, 15,500 at the moment. But it does fluctuate, goes up and down. So I would suggest if you need some help and guidance with regards to air tickets, please contact either Jax or myself, and we're here to help you. The correct airport to fly into is Denpasar. It's DPK, I think is the code, but we can give you all of that information, if you need it. Then visa application. So even though South Africans don't need a visa to get in, you do need to pay a visa on arrival, which is $35 US. And instead of standing in the queue when you arrive at the airport in Bali, you can now prepay your visa online. And I really, really strongly suggest that you do that. However, there are a lot of scammers out there who are selling visas. So we will give you the correct link that's authenticated to purchase your visa. So please do watch out for that. The other thing that you need to pay for is travel insurance, and please make sure that you do have travel insurance before you travel to Bali. We will ask you for a copy of your travel insurance because Jax and I need to look after you while you're there. We don't want you to worry about anything. And if something does happen, and you're not able to look after yourself, we need to know what you have in place so that we can make things happen for you and look after and help you through if something does happen. Then any tips that you want to give, that's entirely up to you. There will be a lot of optional extras, like when we go to the swings or to some of the temples, they have photographers there, etc., that you can purchase extra. That is up to you. What we have done is we're including entry fees, we're including a driver guide, a vehicle with driver guide, and the experience, but we're not adding all these little frilly bits because we don't feel that that is necessary for the soul healing experience. Then on the rest days or afterwards or even beforehand, you're welcome to contact Jax and myself for one-on-one resonance repatterning or NLP sessions. The NLP technique that I'm very passionate about is timeline therapy, which you can use to overcome past traumas and also to help you process your negative emotions. Okay, so that's all nicely outlined on the website. We've also got a cancellation policy. So you'll see that we're now hitting the point where once you pay, penalties are going to start kicking in because we are getting closer to the time. But basically, our 31st of July is our cutoff point. That's just over a month before. And we will be committed at that point in time to, if you book, we will have committed to paying for your hotel and your activities. So unfortunately, 31st of July is quite a hard line that we've drawn in the sand. Okay, so all that information is there on the website. It's very clear. And then to sign up, what you need to do is you need to go join the adventure, okay? And fill in this form. So what will happen is once you filled the form in, it will come through to my email. I will then liaise with you. I'll send you an invoice and a contract, and on the invoice will be a link to make payments, or you can do an EFT into our bank accounts. As I said before, 11,515 is the amount that you need to commit to right now and to secure your space, and then the balance is payable by the 31st of July. Okay, and guys, after 15 June, the price is going up because Jax and I have done some research. We've consulted with people who run retreats worldwide, internationally, and the package that we've put together is actually worth more than double what our current price is. So, you really, really will get it for a steal.
So I just want to say, Caro, that the amount of time that takes to actually put something like this together, it's like behind the scenes,
Yeah.
it's hours and hours and hours of work behind the scenes that makes the adventure as magical and as seamless and as transformational as it is. So yeah, and then once again, this is the first international. So you might ask, why is there such a big difference? So when we were first putting this together, this is our first international adventure. So I've done these retreats locally, but this is our first bold move to go together with a group overseas, and so we're learning and we're figuring it out along the way. And so as pioneers, we feel that the discount is to like it's our give back because you are pioneers coming on this journey with us. So yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go back to I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the slideshow now. We're going to quickly finish here. We're almost done. Okay, so the next question is, what permission do you need? And what small action can you take today? So give that some thought and maybe pop it into the chat, Jax.
So Caro, I want to ask the question, do you feel something stirring inside of you after everything you've heard? Okay. Because if you do, if you're feeling that stirring, then that's your soul saying yes. Okay. Let your body lead you. So if you're feeling the pull, this retreat may be for you. This isn't just a decision, it's a remembering. So if you're feeling that pull, it's a remembering. A part of you is actually remembering your soul. And if every part of you is whispering, this is it, trust that. And what would it feel like to say yes to your own becoming? What would that feel like? If something lights up inside of you, follow that spark and claim your spot.
Okay. So yes, we're all very, very excited. And one thing that Jax and I have been doing for a few months now is we've been doing a monthly webinar, which, so this is a conversation, a soul healing community conversation, which we're going to be doing once a month. And the webinars are to learn, to grow, etc. So our next one is next week, actually. Next week, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. It's all about the power of play. When last have you played? When last have you had fun? When last have you belly laughed from the bottom of your stomach? Hey, let's come and talk about that and have some fun and just remember what it's like to be a child. Remember what it's like to just be spontaneous and creative. So yes, next week we'll send you the link to join, to register. Celeste, thank you. I see your message. Thank you for attending. That's great. And then the other thing is that we have created a Facebook group called Soul Healing Adventures Community, and we'll send you a link. We'll send you an invite to join this group. And this is where it all begins. We're creating a community where you can feel safe, you can feel heard, have your say, maybe help other people, if they're going through something that you've been through before. We want to start a community of trust, where people feel that they can start being themselves. And that is where we're going to run the events from in the future and send inspirational messages and encourage interaction between the members.
So, Caro, Itabeling asked if Robin would share his experiences of, he's been on my retreats before.
Yeah.
So just if he wants to share sort of his experiences after coming back from those retreats.
Sure.
On
That would be
nourish
great.
and express and breathe. And you can do an overarching one for all, Robin. You don't have to talk about each one separately, but like just your experiences coming back from those retreats. Your microphone's off, Robin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the first time for me to really experience a retreat, and I sort of didn't really know what to expect, but in all of them, they were very nurturing and adventurous, and you looked into aspects of yourself that one wouldn't normally, sort of delve into. Yeah, and it was a really eye-opening experience, and I really found a lot of value in all of them. Express, breathe, nourish. So yeah, I really um, highly recommend doing a retreat for one's, enriching one's life. That's my.
Sorry, thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Jax,
that's what I
can you?
can say.
Sharing.
Hello?
Yes, thank you for sharing.
A pleasure.
Yeah. And like, have you had changes? Because I had big changes. Did you have some big changes that you felt like as a result of you having like gone inside in that way?
Yeah, I do definitely think that the changes. I think they're subtle in many ways, and it's not necessarily a major change, but there's aspects that, you work on. And over a period of time, I think it becomes more integrated into your life, the changes. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it, how it affected me.
Thank you. Caro, is there anything else we need to cover?
Thank you.
I think we've covered everything for tonight. It's already been quite a long presentation, and I do really appreciate the people who have come here and heard us out and interacted with us. It really is fantastic. We are super, super excited about starting this whole adventure together. And it is something that we're hoping will continue for many years to come. So we will be sharing the links to the replays, links to join us next week for the Power of Play. And if we are here, we're contactable via DM Messenger on Facebook if you need to get hold of us, WhatsApp, email, whichever way you would like to communicate, please reach out to either Jax or myself. We're here for you, and let's talk. We would love you to experience this, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. I can't remember the dates of the next one. I need to look for it. Anyway, please look out on the events wall, etc. We will publish. The next dates will be in about a month's time. So it will be the Thursday, the second last Thursday of June. Yeah, and we'd love you to be there. And if there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover, please send us a message or let us know.
Yeah, thanks very much
Thank
for joining us. It's been wonderful having you all here. And yes, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your presence.
Awesome.